it's very interesting talk. It will be about fortune. It will be about horror. It will be about accessibility. Yeah, I'm trying to walk around. By the way, I'm sorry for my accent. You know, I'm Borat. Who am I? My name is Bar Zik, and the most important thing to know about me that I am a metalhead. If one, yeah. And another thing that I'm a senior software developer at Soluto. If I was in Spain, I was a senior software developer architect. And if my last name was senior, like Eli Senior from channel 12 or 13, I was senior software architect principal. Yeah, it is a day joke, by the way. There will be a lot of day jokes, so this is your time to get out. And beside my work at Soluto, I'm also a journalist, full-time journalist at Haaretz, by the way. There I write about tech stuff. Also, I wrote 6 software books, all of them in Hebrew. I'm a blogger at internetisrael.com. Yeah, and by the way, I'm a wonderful designer, by the way, you can see by the screen. Also, I'm a blogger at internetisrael.com. It's also in Hebrew. I'm father of 4, all of them in Hebrew. Omri Bar Zik, by the way, is in the audience, I hope, developer at Outbrain. So, and today we're going to talk about accessibility, and what I'm going to show you today, wow, it's going to be a hell of a show, I hope. First of all, what is accessibility? Okay, and most important, why it's important to us to understand accessibility. Also, how to create a really short introduction about why it's very hard to create accessible components in React. We'll show a short code demo, live coding, not really live because I cheated, I used Git branches for that. And the most important stuff of the lecture is basic and advanced tools of debugging, analyzing components and entire layout, very interesting developing tools, and also automated testing and continuous integration tools. This is what I'm going to talk about. So let's start. So, what is accessibility? It will be in this slide, it's okay. What is accessibility? Accessibility, it's actually, okay, it's very simple. When you open Wikipedia and look on the accessibility, it's making your site accessible to anyone. But what it means accessible? Accessible, it means that anybody can use it. But a lot of people think that accessible is only for people with visual impairment, people that can't see very, very well. But it's not only for the visual impairment, it's very important to understand it. It's also, for example, motor impaired people. You know motor impaired people? You know, like me, I'm old. And you know, when I need to click on the small buttons of this application, I'll press and then they pop up and then I curse. Okay? Like me. And hearing impairment. And people that, you know, doesn't hear very well. Cognitive impairment, you know, people with dyslexia, for example. If you push tons of text into their face, they will have a hard time to use your application. So it's very important to know that accessibility is not only for visual impaired people. It's for a lot of impairment. When we are talking about accessibility, we have a standard. The standard is, I know it's pretty basic for you, but I will delve on. It's important to, you know, to lay the foundation. So we have the WCAG or WCAG. WCAG has several versions, you know, 1.0, 2.0, has several versions and several layers, A, AA, AAA. Which version should I use? Well, it depends on your local laws. In Israel, for example, you should use at least WCAG 2.0 and AA. It depends on the website. In other countries, it's different. How should I know? This is why we have lawyers. We talk with a lawyer and then ask him, yeah, or her, ask the lawyer, what version should I use? And then he looks up and tells you the answer. And this is the standard and the law that you have to follow. If you look on this link, don't follow this link, you will see that the WCAG is a huge document with a lot of instruction regarding the HTML and the attributes and all the stuff. It's very it's very, very complicated documentation. Let's start to follow it, and then, no, I will not follow it because it's very, very long. We see how can we create accessible even without reading the entire documentation. But before we start working on accessible components, let's first try to understand, why do we care? Okay, of course we care because we are decent human beings, right? This is our responsibility as a developers, as human beings, to make our site, interface, application, whatever accessible, that everyone should use it. It's important, right? We are developers, we are decent human beings, right? Right? Thank you. But some people are not very decent. What it means? Nobody here is product, right? And when I'm coming to my product, and then I tell them, we have to be decent human beings. They say, yeah, but I have the backlog, and we need to deploy this feature tomorrow, and tomorrow is Thursday. They didn't care, because we are decent, but they are not decent. There are not any product here, right? Ella, don't tell them that okay? Great. So we have another argument. Okay, it doesn't work. Our clients. As I said earlier, accessibility is not only for the visual impaired people, it's for a lot of impairments. About 20 to 25% of the population has impairments. And if we are skipping those 25%, we're losing a lot of money. For example, if I have, $40 million of traffic moving through my application, and I'm skipping about 25% of them, or 20%, or even 1%, it's a lot of money. When we are scaling up, accessibility matters in terms that products understand very well. Money. And we can't afford to lose it. If, of course, for example, we have 100 people in the application, it's okay. But if we have more, it's very important to catch everyone. Also, accessible interface is nice for everyone. I took myself as an example. I doesn't have an impairment, but if the buttons are big and clear, and there is a contrast, it's much nicer. And if, for example, there isn't any sound interface, it's very useful when we are surfing the web at 12 a.m., doing whatever, it's very useful that you don't have any voices, right? Right. And if I want to watch some video, it's nice that we have subtitles, right? Even if we don't have any impairments, it's nice. Accessible sites are much more nicer. But, products sometimes doesn't see that. So we have another argument. The internet here doesn't work well. We can skip it, yeah, reload. No, dismiss, nothing is working. Okay, so we have another thing, the law. Oh, nice. Yeah, succeeded in that. We have the legal. And the legal guys are not very nice. And we have legal obligation to make our site accessible, our interface accessible. And if we are not making our site accessible, what will come eventually? The nice cease and desist. Someone got it in the past? Well, it's not a very nice experience. You're sitting in your home, relaxing Friday night. They always do it in Friday night, by the way, like the cybersecurity guide, it's horrible. And then the product, of course, call you and say, oh, the lawyer called us, there is a 2 million schmeckels lawsuit against us, deal with it. And I say, what? How? In this lecture, I will tell you how and why. But it will come eventually. If you are scaling up, if you are creating interfaces and they are not accessible, the cease and desist will come, and then we'll have to pay. And we don't like to pay. Even products don't like to pay, especially products. Okay, so let's start. How to write accessible React components? It's very hard, but I will show you. Okay, I've created a React component. I will show it. I use the create React app. It's very nice. Here it is. It's very complicated one. Just close the dev tool. Okay, it's a tab component. Everyone knows how to create a tab component. It's in the, the React courses phase 1. I click on A, I click on B, I click on C. It's very nice. Is it accessible? Let's see. To use, to help me develop an accessible software, I'm using the screen reader add-on. You know the screen reader? It's a small add-on. I hope it will work. Okay, you just, there are a lot of screen readers, by the way. There is a Mac screen reader, there is a Windows screen reader, but I prefer that one. The screen reader, you just type screen reader, it's very popular. I don't think it's actively maintained, but nobody cares. I know it's working, I don't care. You can use whatever screen reader you want to, and then it's operated, and when it's operated, I hope you can understand, hear that. It's in the extension list. Oh, here it is. I hope that you can hear it. No, you can't hear it. But anyway, it's read it, and also you have the outline, the focus element. It's in the origin. It's very, very easy. You don't need to listen to it all the time, because then your your neighbors to the cubicles will kill you eventually. But you can, and then you can click on tab and see if it's focused, if you can access every component, every part. It's not bulletproof, but it helps you. Let's see if my simple component, here is the code, by the way. It's a tab. I created a tab, a style element with anchor, and tab group. It's extremely simple, it's working. Is it accessible? Let's see. I'm going to the React app, clicking on tab. I'm really clicking on tab, something happening? No, I can't navigate with arrows. So first of all, it's not accessible by visually impaired persons, but also it's not accessible for people without mouse. For example, Linux guys like me. I don't have any mouse. Mouse is for, for peasants. But I can't use this interface, and then I'm getting angry. Sorry, if someone really likes mouse, sorry. Okay, mouse is good. So how do I make this thing accessible? Okay, right now we will cheat. Of course I am. And I will add some accessibility features. For example, that one. Role and tab index. Role and tab index are defined in the WCAG. And when I'm adding those attributes to the interface, to the tab interface, and I have the role presentation here, I can use tab. It's nice. Yay, it's accessible, very easy. End of lecture. No. And then I want to choose option B, and then I click on enter. God damn it, it's not working. What should I do? Okay, I cried a little bit, and then I remember that I'm using the anchor element in the tab. Here. Enlarge it a little bit. Here. And if I want to use anchor, I need to use href to make it clickable by enter. Let's do that. I've already done that. Okay, so in the tab group, I just added href. I can change, by the way, the tab from A to button, but right now, I just added href, and then, if I click and press enter, it changes! Yay! Almost! I want to use my arrows. I'm clicking on my arrows. Something happening? No, I don't want to click on tab. I want to click arrows. What the hell? Why it's happening? What do I need to add? Okay, I will not add it. Why? Because this is in other lectures, okay? Asaf lecture at 4 p.m., he will talk about that. But I will stop here. It's hard. It's really hard to create accessible components. Look, it's just a tab component. It's a very simple component, right? And look what effort, and I need to remember that I have tab index and read all the WCAG. It's not working like that. So what is the solution when I want to create atomic components? What should I do? I will try to scroll a little bit. Yeah. The best solution, use component library like React Material UI. Everybody knows React Material UI, right? Right? Ah, thank God. Okay, so component library, if you look on the component library here, there is the small icon of W3C, it means that it is accessible. Yay! What the problem with Material UI, by the way? That it's very, very not flexible in terms of design. It says React Material UI and every other component library, it's very, very strong opinion about the design. And what's happening when you want to implement something that is strong opinionated about design? Who will come to you? Not the product, much more terrible persons, the designers. Wow, where it is? Elad is here, he's a designer that come over here to hear my lecture and he will kill me after that. But the designers come and no, it doesn't have the fuchsia color. Say, what? No, they're round, I want it to be round and black. And then we need to change it and wrap it up, it's hard. You can use React Material UI in the hooks to make it a little bit more accessible, but there is another solution called React. And the side should move, wow. Okay, React, we'll have to, I will show it, I will show live demo, but React, it's the small here. Okay, try to imagine React with a small logo by Vercel. React is a component library with, it changed, yay! Wow, it's amazing. Okay, and React is a component library that's agnostic to design. It means it's only bringing you basic HTML, but accessible HTML. Let's do some live coding. No, I'm not live coding, but I will show the live demo. Okay, so this is a React tab. As you can see, I provided the style component, but I've used the React component. But I need that if I will not pass any style component, it will be styled horribly. I don't care, but the designers care about it, so I need to provide some styled element, which is okay. It doesn't opinionated like the React Material UI, and I can quite use it. It's very, very solid component library. It's very, very non-opinionated regarding the design. I will need to provide my own design, but it will work. Let's see, in live. Yeah, you can see that even the arrows, you are not looking on my keyboard, but the arrows is working. And if the screen reader worked, you should read, this is tab A, 1 out of 3. It's completely accessible. Yay! So using React or React Material UI will make our component library, my component totally accessible. It's amazing, right? End of lecture. No. Let's imagine, like John Lennon's song, imagine that there is a place that all the components are accessible. No religion too, but no designers too, no products as well. But I've created 2 amazing, fully accessible with React or React Material UI, fully accessible buttons. And then, by the infinite wisdom of myself, I've put the 2 buttons one to top each other. Is it accessible? No, I cannot click on the 2 buttons because they're very, very close. Or, for example, I've chosen terrible colors. Is it accessible? No. Or in my infinite wisdom, I decided to put a huge sound element when you enter into the site. Is it accessible? No. No. Okay, so how do I test accessibility? So we have several tools that allow us to test the entire interface accessibility. The first one, you probably know it, is Google Lighthouse. Small, really, really short demo. Okay, so probably you know Google Lighthouse is built in with the DevTools. And most of the people use it for SEO or stuff like that, but you can also use it for accessibility. It's a very, very simple one. You just check the accessibility, click on Generate Report. It takes a little bit of time, and it gives you a score, and wow, it's working like hell. Most of the time it's much more faster, but it gives you accessibility score. It's very high because I used React, but there is an issue. What is the issue? That I didn't choose enough contrast in the header, between the tab name and the tab background. So I have here an accessibility issue. You can implement it in the CI. There is a CLI implementation of Lighthouse, but you know it's kind of annoying because as a developer you also need to test and it takes time, and if you have crappy internet it takes more time. There is another tool called the Queue DevTool or X DevTool. X, okay, should work. X is the engine that tests the accessibility with code, with HTML, and also with visual marks. And this is how it looks. You just can scan part of the page, which is very important, and scan all of my page, and I scan it, and then it gives me more issues. It makes 5 issues. The DQ DevTools that you can install, X DevTool is called, it's made by DQ. DQ is an accessibility company. It's much more, how do I say it? It's better than the Google Lighthouse because it finds more issue, and it's much more faster. You don't need the Google Lighthouse to run all over your accessibility, all over your web page. It's very, very nice to use. So those 2 tools are very handy when you're creating components by yourself, but they are not enough in terms of continuous integration. And also, when you're clicking on stuff and stuff changes, we need to test it. How do we do it? Okay, we can do it by Jest. You know Jest? Nobody knows Jest. Oh, come on. You're not testing yourself. Do unit testing. Oh, God. Okay, so Jest is very important. Do a coverage, at least 85% coverage. It's helped you a lot. You know, I'm an old developer, and testing is important. Extremely important. Why? I don't like to get calls in the middle of the night, something is not working. If you like to get calls, don't test. But please, okay, so Jest, if nobody uses it, know about it. Jest is really a cool testing library that everyone should use and know it. It comes bundled in with Create React App, with Next.js, with whatever. Everyone uses it, and you can use Jest to check accessibility of components. Yeah. How? With Jest X. Okay. So this is a Jest X. It's a Jest X is an NPM module that you can install. You know, like every other Jest add-on. So you can install that one. You have to add the expect extend to have no violations. You can put it in the before all or in just config file. You can also configure it to a proper version of the WCAG or a layout or something like that. And this is how it looks like. It's just a simple Jest test. You render the HTML, and then you expect it to have no violation. Here it is. See, not very complicated. In Saluto, by the way, in every component testing that we have, you have, of course, all the components testing, click, it's opening, it's not opening, it's at the attribute, doesn't have the attribute, but we also have that one. Pay attention that the Jest X using the X engine, and it tests only the HTML, not the coloring. It means that if I will test that one, that we are not, that the entire interface has accessibility issues, we will not get any errors. Let's see, live demo. Okay, I'm using NPM, sorry, not Yarn. So basically, like any other Jest, it's running with the other Jest testing, and it will pass. Why it will pass and not give me any violations? Because it tests only the HTML. It's testing that we have all the proper attributes, the tab index, the tab role, everything. So everything is working. I can also test every HTML that I want to. For example, the entire application. If the component change the HTML, if I click on something open or something closed, I can do the click and then test for a violation. The result just is an HTML. You can put any HTML that you want into the Jest X. Yay, so my problem solved? No, because I don't get any result on the resolution or in the entire interface. So what should I do? I need to do end-to-end test. You know, in the pyramid of tests, we have the unit test, and then we have the end-to-end. And what should I use regarding end-to-end? Cypress, thank you very much. Appreciate it. No, I afraid was that someone will shout, Selenium. I say, what? It was great, Selenium, in the old age, in the dark ages. and you use jQuery. Sorry. So, Cypress, if nobody knows about Cypress, Cypress is a really cool end-to-end framework, really appreciate it. I enjoy working with it in private, of course in Soluto, in Verizon I worked with it. It's really, really cool end-to-end framework. Probably have to, it's nice to play with it. If you didn't have time to play with Cypress implemented, please do. It's end-to-end, and you can do a sanity test and also really complicated flows. So, how it looks like. So we have Cypress X. It is add-on for Cypress. You install it with any other, Cypress add-on. It's called, again, Cypress X. And after you install it, you need to put it in. It's very, very complicated. Put it here. This is the install process. I know it's hard. By the way, the entire code will be available in my GitHub just after the lecture. So after that, you put it in the Cypress X in the e2e.js. You put, it's explained in the documentation, Cypress X, and how the test looks like. Let's run it. I'm so nervous because the site is very, very, okay. Okay, it's opening the Cypress program. Cypress is a small browser. You can choose whatever browser that you want to. I will use Chrome. And until it will load up. Come on, come on. Yay. It's very nervous. Okay. Until it will, yeah, it's loading. So, it's working. So let's look at the code. This is the test code, by the way. Everyone that knows Cypress can understand it quite easily. The person that doesn't know Cypress can understand it quite easily because it's JavaScript. Okay, I didn't even use TypeScript for that. Sorry, Gil. So you're visiting the site, and then you need to do the inject X. Again, the X engine is the basic engine that checks accessibility, and then you check that one, check Ali, check accessibility. Ali A11Y, because developers are lazy. So check Ali, and then it gives you the indication. Let's see it live. And choosing Chrome. And of course, it can be implemented in your continuous integration. Very, very nice. Okay, just opening and load the test. And will it give violations? Yes or no? Yes, it gave violation. Woohoo! Thank you, thank you. I know that you're amazed, but it gave violation. It can be run in your continuous integration. It's amazing. Along with the Just X, along with the developing tools, along with other tools, it is very, very useful. Let's discuss about one more tool. I will not do a live demo. We have the end-to-end. We have the unit testing. What do we miss? The linting. Well, I love linting, right? I love linting. I could link my life away. So we have the ESLint plugin JS6 Ally. It's a plugin that you can install with your ESLint, and it evaluates the JS6, it means the HTML, of entire component, and you can find other stuff in the linting process. So if you want to create a nice flow, ESLint, unit testing, end-to-end, and when you are developing, use Lighthouse or the Q dev tool. So to summarize, because we all want to get food, accessibility is not that hard, but it can be hard. Maybe it's not a good idea to try to implement it yourself. Another important tip: when you are using any tool of accessibility, document it in your README, under accessibility, in the README of your project. Why? Because it's a best effort. When the lawyers come, you can say to him, yeah, I'm using Just X, I'm using Cypress X, I'm using that and that and that. This is my best effort. And then you can continue with your Friday routine. That's it. It's very important. Please remember this. That's it, guys, for accessibility.